This is again the Westwood Horizons Creative Expression class. We are going to start off.
I'm Judith S. Korn, and I enjoy writing very much. And when I heard that we're going to have a writing class, I came here in hope of improving my writing.
Hey, well, hi, I'm Coraine, and this is again the Westwood Horizons Creative Expression class. We are going to start off with an exercise today that is an exercise in current events that the students wrote the last time they were here. And I'll go ahead and read what that is. It's called Inauguration Day. Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2009, was a sight to behold and to feel around the world. Observe a scene of the day from a point of view other than your own. You can be anyone, anywhere. So, why don't we go in order, if it's easier for me and for you, and let Judith start.
It was very interesting watching the inauguration of President Obama, but I resented the amount of money that was spent while there were so many businesses that went bad and needed the money to improve their lot. The people loved the inauguration, so we have to accept it as it was. Thousands of us watched as President Obama danced with his wife Michelle. Her yellow outfit she wore a few days before was very nice, but the white gown she wore for the inauguration was not well-fitting, and not a very good choice for our first lady.
I think it makes us all more well-rounded people to hear someone else's viewpoint, even if it's not the same as your own.
Gil Silverman. I come originally from Detroit, and I spent 26 years in Los Angeles, and 11 of it was spent with Rockwell International, going to the moon. Then the next 36 years I spent in real estate. Known probably as the youngest person in this place, although I'm not, but I won't tell them how old I am. The Inauguration Day. I can see what Thomas Jefferson was thinking, viewing the inauguration from above. I wonder if he was one of my descendants, a lawyer, knowledgeable about the Constitution, well-spoken, good-looking, a wife he loves dearly, a man who would rather negotiate settlements with other countries rather than invade them, like we did Louisiana Purchase.
My name is Myrna Weingarten. I married that fellow over here when I was 18, and then I had a teaching credential, and although the children are absolutely adorable, and I would have had a very joyous career being a kindergarten teacher, we needed a bit more money because he was in the Army. So I had a baby, and then I went, a few years later, went to law school, and I spent my career doing legal research and writing. I am here a black lady, possibly in her 80s, in the crowd at the inauguration. In the 1940s, I risked drinking from a white-only drinking fountain. Frankly, no one was around to arrest or harass me, so not so brave then. But it was just the beginning. I went with others, many others, and sat in the front of the bus in Alabama. That was brave. I still have the scars to prove it. We are one people. We sit in the front of the bus, the back of the bus, or the middle, or perhaps in the planning office of the Transit Authority. We are all Americans.
My name is Vic Weingarten, married to the previous participant. Grew up in the Bronx, New York. So I went to college, the City College of New York, graduated as an engineer. Worked in the aerospace industry. Some of the interesting projects with Surveyor going on the moon, Venus Pioneer, going ahead and landing on Venus and measuring temperature and things like that. I am black, not colored, not Negro or African American. My father was a Negro. My grandfather was a slave and colored, and was freed after the Civil War. I am black. I went to college and law school. My children, who are African American, one has a PhD in science and one became a doctor. My granddaughter is American and expects to become the President of the United States and has no barriers for her advancement. What a great country this is.
I just want to add that these were not homework assignments. This was done in class to a timed writing exercise. They had no idea what they were getting until it was in front of them, and this is what came out of it. So it's just amazing, and Vix is just phenomenal. I mean, what comes out sometimes when you surprise people and they surprise themselves. The homework assignment was to give your dream book a title and do a critic review of it on the back cover.
Back to yesteryear. This book is an organized footpath of the events of ancient history. It describes the sources for ancient agricultural, politics, religion, law, and culture. Criticism. Mr. Silverman's tale of the development of civilization is fascinating, but lacking in certain traceable details and sources. Although many of his stories are logical and believable, they are not commonly held stories among the various peoples. Ancient history has little written documentation to demonstrate veracity, but the little there is, Mr. Silverman has pulled together in an interesting and informative way.
If you or a loved one are considering spending your retirement years in a retirement residence, we recommend first reading Myrna Weingarten's Survivor's Guide for Retirement Years. Come and discover how it is to meet new people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and older. Some are absolutely amazing, fun, and intelligent. The Weingarten Survivor's Guide makes an excellent gift for a new retiree or a family member.
How did I come up with this and establish it? I used to do writing exercises for a writing group of which I was a member. And somehow I just became the queen of writing exercises. And I enjoyed it, and I started seeing what people could do when I pushed them, and what their limits were and what their creative capabilities were. And it was always fun and a challenge for me once I saw the kind of writing they were doing to see what other path I could lead them down.
The book that I wrote is a documentary in pictures that happened from 1908 till the present time. It represents all family activities and happenings. It'll be a great book for the years to come. It will show how we lived, what we wore, and what we did.
Okay, so this is a writing exercise where we used visual stimulus, and here are some postcards actually that I got from the Getty. So hopefully they're interesting. It doesn't mean they're actually my favorites, but they hopefully are thought-provoking. And again, this is something that the students did in class without any prior preparation.
I picked the postcard with the 3 children, and 3 children, a dog, and some toys. Okay, and I called it 3 Children. 3 children are clearly healthy and well cared for. They're beautifully dressed, they're clean and cherubic looking. They have a toy and a dog and a rocking horse. And yet they are some of the saddest children I have ever seen. I yearn to hug them close, to stroke their soft, chubby little cheeks, to induce a smile on their faces, to supply whatever is missing from their lost little lives. I hope something better has intervened. Surely children, all children, deserve more.
And just the ability and amazingness of these people, and openness to share. You know, they're often talking about things that are very personal, and I think we have sort of a clause of trust in the room. And I think we all honor that and enjoy it.
Well, mainly I took the course because my wife had said, this is a great course, I'd like you to come here, we need lots of people here in the course. So I came along to the course. That was the reason I actually came here. But as I've been in the course, I have the ability now to let out thoughts that I have had within myself that I had never really discussed. So I enjoy that part of it, and that's why I'm here. From looking at that postcard, I picked out, where am I? I sometimes look at life from the outside. I go through the motions of living, but I'm not really there. Nobody knows that I'm thinking this. I constantly think about the meaning of life, even though I have read many books about this and relate to the play Waiting for Godot. I guess I will always wonder, but will accept that life has no meaning, so have fun, enjoy your family, anything else that gives you happiness.
50 years in business, writing business letters, business documents, briefings, all of which are absent in adjectives, adverbs, anything colorful. I had a desire to write a book and or several books. And I really started attending this class with that in mind, that I wanted to change my writing profile 50 years into something a little more interesting. One of the things that came out of this was a desire for a little humor and a little poetry. And it now drives me so that 3 o'clock in the morning I'll get up and start writing a poem that occurs to me, which I would never have done without this class.
Ever since we had the poetry class, Gil has been this very voracious poet, writing in his own spare time, aside from the homework assignment.
It contributes to an impulsive writing too. In business, you have to think everything out before you set it down. But in here, I've found I can, within a few seconds, establish a storyline with the intention of what I'm trying to do and the method by which I'm going to present it. And I never thought I was capable of that. I'm doing the empty chairs. The play is over. The applause was weak. What was it about? Why did he kill her in the end? He seemed to have loved her, just because they fought over narcotics and money. Do all these stories have to end badly? Even as a corpse, she was thin and beautiful. He was tragically remorseful. Anyway, he thought, where was his next fix?
The picture of the children and their pets reminds me about the dog I had when I was about 10 years old. The dog would follow me everywhere. One day, unbeknown to me, my dog followed me as I left for school. Suddenly, I heard a loud cry. When I turned, I saw that my dog was hit by a car and killed. I'm still teary-eyed today. I loved my dog. As a result, I would never have a dog again. My children asked me to get a dog, but I refused because a loss of a pet is a very hard thing to forget.
You already know that fellow, but I've gotten to know you both in a way I would never have done. I've enjoyed the opportunity really to know you all better and to hear what you write. I enjoy what you write. I'm doing some writing on my own now, so it's not so much that I'm looking for things to write about, but things that I may have passed through my mind, I now write down. For instance, I saw a Hasidic Jew in complete black outfit and a Muslim woman in the Shador standing on a street corner. And it made me think of their conformity and non-conformity simultaneously, that they're both conforming and that they're non-conformists in the culture at large. And so I ran upstairs and wrote about it. Whereas before it just might have been a passing thought, or I might have mentioned it to someone, or not at all.
One of the unexpected things that I got out of this class was you coming here the last time and showing me this iFlip camera. And now I've started a new project, which is a video memoir, which I am planning to leave for my children and grandchildren. It's something that I've thought about for a long time because my father died when I was 11 years old, and I loved being with him until I was 11, and I always wondered what his life was, and I would have loved to have had a video memoir of him because he Went from Poland at 13 to Germany, went into the German Army and Navy, came to the United States, and had a life that I would have liked to have known about. So that's what you've done for me.
3/4 of the way into the year last year, I started accumulating all of their writings, and sometimes I didn't want to give them back because I was afraid that the dog might eat them. So I kept collecting them, and I decided something had to be done with all of these wonderful excerpts and essays. So I made a collection of their writings. That's the 2008, and so I think we'll read something from a writing exercise, and I'll explain the prompt.
Yes,
okay.
okay.
So this one was called Summer Solstice. This was the exercise. They saw the table spread out with these summary items, and then they received their exercise, which is the word solstice is derived from 2 Latin words, sol meaning sun and sistere meaning to cause to stand still. On this day, daytime hours are at a maximum in the northern hemisphere, and it is officially the first day of summer. How was summer meaningful to you when you were growing up?
One day, my parents took us to a summer resort. There was a great swimming pool, and on the side of the pool, a deep well. Later, when my kid brother went missing, my mother was hysterical, and the rescue squad was called. They lowered a ladder into the well, but he was nowhere to be found. After a long hour, my kid brother showed up wondering what all the excitement was about. Apparently, he had simply been playing next door.
2 weeks out of every summer, my parents actually took a vacation, heading out to the 4 corners of the compass, searching for sunlight so that when we returned, they could impress all their family and neighbors with their glowing suntans. I found this is a little oppressive because aside from experiencing third-degree burns each year, I had to suffer these trips on the back of a 2-seater car. Later in life, I found this kept me in good stead for flying around the country in military airplanes full of cargo boxes without seats.
Summer. When I was very small and my father was alive, I looked forward to summer. We would rent a cottage in the Catskill Mountains of New York. My father drove us to our Cuchulainn, and my mother and sister and I stayed there all week and looked forward to my father driving up on Friday nights. He worked in the city during the week. On Friday nights, we would walk over to one of the hotels in the area and see the hotel show. On Saturday, when many of the other men were playing pinochle, my father would drive me and some of my cousins over to another cottage area to play baseball or to a lake to go fishing. It was wonderful being with my family and especially having conversations with my father during those summers. How can I go back in time?
Again, that they did that from the prompt, so it was not something they took home and had to think about. It came just, from the air through their souls onto the paper. So that's the magic, and they just do it so well.
Summer, long hot days, short cool nights, and 2 weeks in a pathetic, rundown, paint-peeling rented cottage in Rockaway. The Iceman cometh every few days, carrying enormous blocks of ice for the icebox. No money to rent a refrigerator. That was okay. Dark and dingy, but scrupulously clean. You could eat off my floors, my mother would say, although there were no volunteers giving up standard eating accoutrements in favor of her floors.
The night before this class, I'm about like this, thinking of what I'm going to do, but I am pretty creative, so luckily the class is at 2, so I can usually put it together by then.
Excellent.
And they're very willing to do whatever I say, which is also the best part, to be Simon Says. Do this, no questions, do it. So you have 2 minutes, do it. I'm usually on a high when I leave because, here we go with the crying again. I don't know, it just feels very purposeful. It's one of the few things I do that has purpose. It's something that I think I'm meant to do, and it's also, I see how it inspires them and how their lives are more empowered and enhanced because of it, which in turn gives that back to me. So it just feels like I'm in the right place in the right time, and I think maybe sometimes what you give is actually what you need.
I always loved writing, and I found the teacher most interesting, and she knows just how to get things out of us. and we write, listening to what she has to say. She makes it very easy for us to write, and I love her for it.